I will be introducing to you a lovely, lovely, lovely gospel artist, gospel minister this lovely morning. The song you just listened to, At the Cross, this one is also by her. Her name is Tomi Favored, who is a singer, BIM songwriter, musician, and growing producer with 6 albums released progressively from 2014 to present day. Alright, so currently she's credited with about 70 plus and increasing personal copywritten registered songs, various artist collaborations from different artists, from Awama Ridi with Nathaniel Bassi to international commercials and ad voiceovers to third party background vocal work on secular projects like the movies Sparkles, The Features, The Late Whitney Austin. You can also find her active on different social media platforms. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, and a lot of other platforms. So this morning, I have with me she's not in the studio with me. Basically, we're having an online interview. I have with me Tomi Favored this lovely morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sis. How are you? God bless you. Thank you so much
Amen.
for having me on.
All right, so we are having Tomi Favor online. So you can also be a part of this if you have questions for her. I'll be asking her questions. But if you have questions you want to know more about her, the number for you to call me on is +234 818 650 8590 +234 818 650 8590. How are you doing?
I am doing very well. Thank God. Thank God for
I must
another
say you're doing
day.
an amazing job. Like I love your songs. You're doing an amazing
Thank
job.
you. Thank
All
you
right,
so
so
much, sis.
for the benefit of those who do not know you or might have
Yes.
not met you one on one, how would you define yourself? Who would you say Tommy Favored is?
Okay. Tomi Favored is just a worshiper, a sold out young woman whose goal in life is literally to use every single thing, every gift I have
Mm,
to just propagate the gospel and to encourage people. So one, glorify God,
okay.
bring souls to the kingdom, and
Mm,
two, encourage people.
mm,
So for me, my gifts and talents are I speak, I write,
okay.
and I sing, and I'm
Okay.
into music. So I'm able to use all of those things to the best of my ability to just share the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so Tommy Favored is, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I have two toddlers, I'm married to the amazing saxophonist Shea Alesh. We have two children, and I'm also a nurse. If you can see right now, I'm actually in my
Oh.
car. So I'm driving to work,
Mm.
so I'm a nurse, but outside of that, ministry for me is music and speaking, and so that's it's my life is just to share the message of Jesus. So
All right. So now we're speaking with Tommy Favor, the musician. We have
yes,
Tommy Favor the
yes,
nurse, Tommy
yes,
Favor the
yes.
mother, the beautiful wife, the supporter and all. Now let's talk about your
Yes,
music. Let's talk about your music.
yes,
How are you able to
yes,
combine? Because you do music and you don't just
yeah,
you write and you sing.
yes,
So how do you
yes,
combine these
yes.
two? Would you say there are two different things that you have to bring together? How do you combine these two? And
I
also
think
bringing out these beautiful projects.
I think for me, honestly, the gift God has given me, it works all together. So I never like just, I'm able to do both. So for
Okay.
instance, if I hear a beat now or
All
I'm
right.
in the studio, I'm able to work on music by myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I play enough keyboard and I know enough about I play drums a little bit too. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to walk into the studio and be like, okay, I want to create a song that is upbeat or that is worship based. And once I hear the music,
Okay.
and there's always something in my heart. I feel like
Mm.
when you're worded, even if you're not worded, just open the Bible
All
and
right.
there are, on copywritten lyrics for you to use. You can open the book of Psalms and there's free lyrics,
No copyright strike at
So
all.
no copyright strike at all. So God has given me the grace that, I because I play a little bit of keyboard and I play drums, I'm able to walk into a studio
Oh,
and say, okay,
beautiful.
what do I want to talk about? I just want to talk about God's goodness. Let me open up with the book of Psalms and the Lord is my shepherd. And I'm gonna write a song
Okay.
about that. So it comes very easy to me, and
So
that's
it's
why I
more
said it's a
natural to
gift.
you.
It's natural, it's a gift. I
Mm.
honestly didn't go to school to learn this.
All right.
It's just the gift of God. So
So let's talk about your career so far in music. When
yes.
did you start and how far have
Yeah.
you gone with it? Because we're going to have, I
Okay.
know that you have a lot of songs. You have lots of songs. I've listened to some. You
Yes.
have lots of amazing songs, by the way. So let's talk about
Yes,
your
thank
career.
you.
When did you
Okay.
start? When did you discover that music is something you really want to do? When did you start and how far
Okay.
have you gone with it?
Okay. I think probably around 10 years old. I was born in Kaduna. And so
Oh,
my family and
amazing.
I used to go to a very small Pentecostal church at the time. And at the age of around 8 or 10, I remembered that we had the teen choir, the adult choir, and then the children's church. And I used to follow my sister to choir rehearsal. And so there was a day where the teen and adult choir were rehearsing a song and they just didn't get it. Like the lead singer was not getting what they were supposed to sing. And I'm in the back somewhere and I started singing the song. So the choir master and the guest artist that came to minister was like, that girl is singing what we want them to sing that they're not getting. So they called me up and they said, hey, can you sing it? And I sang it and they're like, "Ah, no problem, you sing it on Sunday." So I think from that age of 10 where I sang it in church, the church went crazy and it was just like, wow, you have a gift. You are small, but you have a gift and you can do this thing. So I think from that age 10, I realized I love this. I love music. I have an ear for it. I know where I'm supposed to go. I know what I'm supposed to do. And so from that age 10, I had that interest was official. Like, okay, I'm
Okay.
interested in music. So I didn't really do anything with it until 2014 was when I now released my first album titled I Am Tomi Favored. And what's funny about that album is I created everything myself. Like
Amazing.
somebody made the mistake of putting some music software on my computer at the time. I think it was
Oh.
original Fruity Loops or something way back then. And it came with this laptop that I bought. And I started making music and I started writing my songs. And my songs came like as poetry.
Okay.
So when I was growing up, stuff that I would just be feeling, I'll just write it down in my little diary. And then when I could make music, I realized I can just add a melody to these words,
And make logic.
And so in 2014, that was when I released my first album titled I Am Tomi Favored, all produced, by myself in my little room back then. And so that was the beginning of, okay, I'm releasing, my album. That was first one was 2014.
2014, and now we're in 2019, and you have new albums
Yes.
right there.
Yeah, I have a total of 6 albums out now. From
Amazing.
2014 to 2019.
Amazing,
Yes,
amazing. A lot
yes.
of work must have been put into that. Now, still talking about, your music career, because that is what tonight
Yeah.
is about.
Yes, yes.
I would like to ask, what motivates you? Today Daddy talked about inspiration. Getting inspiration.
Yes,
What
yes.
inspires you? I know God is our inspiration,
Yes.
but what is that thing?
Yes,
It could be
yes.
nature. It could be anything. What motivates you to
Yeah.
write? For you to write and sing at the same time. What motivates you?
My feelings. My
Okay.
feelings. And my feelings are not just my feelings, but what I'm learning every day. What I knew about God at age 10 is not what I know about God now.
True.
And every time I'm discovering something about God, I mean, it's like you go to church, let's say comparison between 10 and now I'm 32 years old. At age 10, I went to church because my mom and dad said, you have to go to church. And so it was just duty. It was just, yeah, you will go to church. But then now I'm 32 years old and I've learned, oh my God, God is amazing. Jesus is the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. Like, I've learned so much. I've studied the Bible. I've said, my God, like, there's no other religion like Christianity. Every other religion says, work hard, try to be better, try and
Yeah.
try and try and try. And maybe someday your good works will outweigh your bad works and you'll go to heaven. But Christianity is the only religion where it's not a religion, it's a relationship.
My
God
God.
loves us as human beings and he says, you're
Yes.
my children, you're my beloved ones, and I know you can't be perfect, which is why I sent my son to die for you. And as long as you accept him, you receive my grace, unlimited grace. So knowing that, I'm like, how can I talk to people? Like, if I just go on the street and I'm yelling at people, Jesus loves you. And I look at this, I'm like, what, is she crazy? What's wrong with you? But music is something that people listen to. They don't have to know you,
Yeah.
they'll listen to your music. And so that was it for me. It's like, how do I share this message of Jesus with people and be received without being seen as a mad person? I'm gonna keep writing songs. I'm just gonna keep writing songs. So
Okay.
that's my own inspiration.
Inspiration. Okay. So now, your inspiration is the fact that you want to write songs to minister to souls. Now let's talk about the
Yes.
genre of your song. What would you call the genre of your songs?
Ooh, that's interesting. I call it eclectic music. And the word
Okay.
eclectic, I call my music eclectic Christian music. ECM. That's what I titled it by myself. And the reason I call it eclectic Christian music is because I'm a lover of music, so you can't I've tried. You can't restrict me to just one style of music. Today I might be jamming to reggae.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow I'm jamming to calypso. If you've heard some of my songs, they're rap, you
Yeah.
know? And then some of my songs are ballads. So I'm like, I love music in general, which is why I'm an independent artist, where I'm able to walk in the studio by myself. I'm able to create my music and just any kind of music. Because I mean, some days you are feeling like, oh, Father, we worship you. It's slow. It's slow
Mm.
music, and then some days God does something so amazing for you, and you're like, Father, I just want to dance, and praise God, calypso. And so that's why I call it eclectic Christian music. Because if you just say, oh, she's an R&B singer, then all you're expecting is R&B. If you say, oh,
Yes.
she's just a reggae singer, all you're expecting is reggae. So the day
Reggae.
you do something that is not reggae, people are like, what's wrong with you? So that's why I just said, I'm eclectic, expect anything.
All right. So now you're eclectic. Expect anything. How has the
Yeah.
reception been?
I
How's the
think
reception been since 2014?
the reception has been varied. I say varied in the sense that it makes sense that when you create different kinds of music, you
Yes.
develop different kinds of people who like you.
Yes.
So if you listen to my album, you hear a rap song, you hear some of this. So, but the people who love me for my music. So I have people who are like maybe 60, and they'll listen to my album and be like, I really like that. The cross was very cool. I love that song. I'm like, okay, mommy, what do you think about the other one? Hey, it's there, Sha. But then, I'll talk to the 18-year-old, teenager who's like, oh my God, I listened to your album. I listened to We Win in the End. I listened to I Love You Anyway. And that song is my jam.
And
Like,
I must
that's
say,
my
I love
number
you anyway
one.
is my jam.
So exactly. So thank you so much. You have the people who are like, that's my jam. So
Mm.
they have their favorites.
All right.
So that's why I mean by the reception has been varied. Everybody has their own favorite of
Mm.
me. But I think it's a blessing because I'm able to reach a very large grand scale of different people. So I can reach the 60, 70, 80-year-old grandma who I respect very much
Mm.
because they are listening to the lyrics and they can hear that what I'm saying is Bible based. But I
Yeah.
can also reach the 18-year-old or the 15-year-old who hears rap because I need to let them know that it's not the devil did not create music. God
Mm.
created music.
Mm.
So when you hear a genre of music, you can't say, "Oh, this is Satan music." No, Satan is not that original. I
Mm.
tell people the opposite of Jesus is not Satan. That punk was created. He's not at the level of God. Like God is God. Satan is
Mm.
not opposite.
Mm.
Satan is a created being whose job has been to steal everything that God creates and manipulate it. So he didn't create it. He's just a thief. So the genre is not Satan. It's God that created music. So it's the content of the music that reaches people's hearts.
Mm. All right, still have Sister Radio, and I still have with me live on air, Tomi Favored. Right about now, I'm going to be a little bit selfish because I'm going to play my jam, and this one is "I Love You Anyway." You guys shouldn't go anywhere because I'm still here with Tomi Favored, and by the time we're back, we'll be having more conversations, and I'm sure she's ready because she sounds really, really like I'm prepared for you, Temi Tayo. All
I
right.
got you, Tammy.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's what I want to hear. This show is for the both of us today. All
Yes.
right, I'll be back in a jiffy. Stay connected. Still RCCG Radio. Enjoy this beautiful one.
Yeah, come on, friends. Hurricane Harvey survivors up in here, y'all. Y'all know how we do it. Y'all know how we do it. Everybody put your hands up like this. Everybody put your hands up like that. Yo, I got fam on this one. I love y'all. I love Jesus.
All right, so that's City Radio. My name is Temi Balogu, and I'm still here with Tomi Favored. You know, I like the fact that I'm saying I'm here with you, but it's
Yes,
actually an
I know.
online interview.
Yeah, thank God for technology, right? Yes.
Yes, that's it's really amazing what technology can do for one.
Amen. Amen to that.
All right, so Tommy Favored is a beautiful singer that I've been speaking with since. If you're just joining in, where have you been? You've missed a lot. You've missed a lot, but not to worry. You're going to catch up on our gist. So basically, let's talk
Yes.
about because what we see most of the time is the finished work.
Yeah.
We don't know what
Yeah.
goes on behind the scenes, the
Yeah.
struggle and all. So I want
Yes.
you to,
Yes.
let's talk about the challenges, in production,
Mm. Mm.
writing, production,
Mm-hmm.
singing, all the process. What are the challenges, the major challenges you go through?
I think the major challenges are financial and finding the right people to connect with you.
Okay.
Financial, I say that because, say, for instance, my first album in 2014, I did not have a bunch of money. I was a student, I was going to school,
Mm.
and I had songs, and I'm like, I want to produce, I want to go into the studio. I want somebody to help me. But then every producer you would meet at that time was like, okay, I'm charging you, maybe $1,000 per track. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. If you sell me, maybe you get that money, but I don't have that kind of money. So that was a challenge. And I was like, my God, what am I gonna do? I have these songs. I believe in the music God is giving me, but I don't have the finances. And so the struggle was, what do you do? Do you give up? Do you let it go? And I remembered a pastor prayed over me and he said, God has given you the tools. He said, God has given you the tools. You just have to use them. And that was when I went home and I was like, this is my computer. I have music software. And I'm like, oh, but I'm a girl now. Girls don't produce. What do you mean girls produce? I'm like, if you can do it, why don't you sit down and do it?
Do it.
And that's how I sat down and started working on it. And then when you talk about relationships, sometimes knowing the right people and having the right people who will speak into your life and who will speak encouragement, that's another struggle. Who you surround yourself with matters. And I remembered I used to be around people who are like, you are a girl, you want to play drums, you want to play keyboard. Get away from the keyboard. Girls don't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I would meet the other people who would be like, oh, wow, you want to do this? Yes, work hard, study, do it. You can get better, keep practicing. And so those struggles where you have, if God has called you to something, but there are not a lot of people who believe in you, whose report will you believe? Will you believe what a naysayer is saying, or will you believe what God has put in your heart to accomplish? So for me, it was financial and it was relational. Those were my two biggest struggles. Like, okay, will you do this thing and have faith that God will bless it? And then number two, even if you don't have the money, okay, will you start having the responsible mindset to save money? So I actually started saving money while I was working on the music at home. And it took a few years, but I saved up money and I built relationship with producers where I was like, okay, I don't have $1,000 for a track, but are you willing to work with me with the little I have, and maybe I can do backups for you or whatever the case may be.
Trade by barter.
Just help my destiny, And so over time, if you're called to it, if you're committed, the Bible says, see you a man diligent in his work, he will stand before kings, and so that's my story. Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about your collaborations.
Yes.
I want you with your own mouth to tell us how many collaborations have you done, how many people, and who are you looking forward to having collaborations with?
Oh my God. I think for me, honestly, the two of the biggest people that I wanted to collaborate with, God already made happen for me.
Amazing.
Which is it's just like God. It's just like God to actually, they say, like, for example, with marriage, they say God gives you your certificate before you go to school. That's what a marriage license is, So for me, with music, it was kind of like God gave me my certificate of the two people I really wanted to work with before I'd even really gone anywhere. And those people were Pastor Nathaniel Bassi and Pastor Olumide Inyo. And those two, I would say, were the pivotal collaborations that I've done. I got to do Alamaridi with Pastor Nats, and Minister Tope Alabi. Are you kidding me? Like, mind blown. Like, those are two amazing people that I look up to. And for Pastor Nance to have had me on that song, it came out of just God saying, you know what, your voice is what I want on this music. And when it happened, it blew my mind. And the way people received our Maridi, I still have people who
Yes.
are messaging me like, that song blesses me.
It's
So
actually a
Pastor
powerful
Nat,
worship.
yes, it is. It was written by Pastor Nat, and just me getting to sing that song is such a blessing to me every day. And so the second one was Mr. Olumide Inyo. You guys have heard Unlimited God.
Yes.
He wrote that song, and he wrote this song titled Jesus No Higher Name. And it was actually just released on his Unlimited God Volume 3 album. And that song was also very unexpected for me. He just reached out to me and was like, "What can you do on this song?" I was like, yes. And so those two collabs have been just a huge blessing in my life, in terms of those were two people that I used to look up to, like, did they told me that song with these people, man?
You're blown.
My life now blown, my life is made. But the truth of the matter is, it's so much about the worship. So those two collabs have been pivotal in my life. But I've also done collaborations with Brother Femi Okunuga. I've done collabs with Sami Bube. I've done collabs with a few different people, and I have this information on my wall. But other people I'm looking forward to, I'm really hoping at some point I'll get to do a collab with, somebody like like maybe Eben.
Yeah.
Someone like Sinach. I'm waiting for the day, someone like Sinach and I will do a collab. I'm waiting for more collabs with Pastor Nat, actually, because honestly, Pastor Nat's anointing is it's heavy. It's so real and so heavenly. And so I'm looking forward to doing more songs with him. And honestly, I'm open to any collaboration. As far as you are a child of God and you are calling on my Jesus, the Jesus Christ of Daddy Adeboye, that Jesus, if you are calling that Jesus, we're cool, and so it doesn't have to be just big names. I've done collaborations with different people that no one has even heard of. But the goal is, let's make this music and let's inundate the airways. I always hashtag inundate the airways in everything that I post, because I feel like the world is constantly putting out content, putting out music, and you listen and you're like, what is this rubbish?
Yes, true.
There's
True.
no message, there's
Yes.
no depth, there's no meat, there's nothing that is feeding your soul with goodness.
Yes.
And so I'm like, come, all us Christians, let's come together, let's put music, let's inundate these airways, because the Bible says, the devil is the prince of the power of the air. But it's not. No, we're not letting you rule the air. No, you will not rule the airways. We are taking over. We are coming here with good content, good music, and we are coming in the name of Jesus.
Amen. So let's talk about career boost. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I'm talking about your recordings. I'm talking about live shows, concerts.
Yes.
In 5 years.
Yes.
Let's see.
In 5 years, I honestly think I'm just going to be traveling a lot. I really see myself traveling a lot. I currently do my annual concert, which is called BOW, Bringing Our Worship.
Let's talk about that.
Yes. Yeah, so the BOW concert started in, I believe it was 2015. That was when we did the first one. And I was I was living in Dallas at the time. And so the BOW concert has evolved. At first, I thought, okay, it was just my music. Tomi's concert, whenever you hear an artist has a concert, it's just their music. But for me, Bringing Our Worship has evolved into an annual concert that is not paid, it's free, it's open to everybody, so I'm not charging anybody. And the idea is, let us bring our worship. Like, you come ready. I usually don't have an MC. We don't want interruption in between. We want it to be free flow worship. Like the last one we just did this past year. Oh my God, it was so amazing. Because it was 3 hours of unscripted, uninterrupted, unhinged worship. So we had about 6 different artists, and our rehearsals were just us getting together and worshiping God. So even the musicians were on board, because even the musicians themselves are worshipers. And we call it Bringing Our Worship, because we are all coming and we are just like, God, once we do the opening prayer, we're giving you the next 3 hours. Just do what you're going to do. No interruptions, nothing, and it was so powerful. So that's my annual concert that I'm doing. So 5 years from now, I see myself having bow in different locations. So far, it's only been in Dallas and in Houston.
Okay.
So by God's grace, maybe next year I'll have a bow, Lagos or something,
Oh.
in Jesus' name,
Amen.
hey, it might happen,
Okay.
So it's just like you might have a bow Lagos, bow
Okay.
Port Harcourt,
Okay.
bow wherever, and it's just taking this worship thing and finding the artists who are in that region and saying, "Come, let's come together." And let's bring people and let's just worship God. So 5 years from now, I see myself traveling a lot. I see another 5 albums because honestly, the truth is I've written so many songs. Like
Okay.
right now, I have 6 albums that I've released, but I have another like 300 songs that I've actually written that
Whoa.
I've not had a chance to get in the studio to record yet. So obviously, and I'm like, there's no time to waste. I think it was last year, early last year, I started something called Tomi Favored Continuous Releases, where I was like almost every week I was releasing a single. Because in my mind, I'm like, there's no point waiting. Like, I'm not gonna wait for 1 year, then release an album, and then you won't hear again from me for another
For a
one
long
year. No,
time.
like as God is giving me song, I have too many songs that if from now till the next 5 years, I'm releasing a song every month, I won't run out. And that's just the grace of God. So 5 years from now, I see myself traveling. I see more bow concerts happening. I see more albums coming out. And yeah, yeah,
All right. So, I'm sure there are a lot of young musicians, young music artists who are listening in now. And what would
yeah.
be your advice to them? Those that are just coming up and they're struggling with this in this industry. What would be
Mhm.
your advice to them?
My advice to them would be focus on Jesus. Like focused on Jesus. This is music. I know we glamorize music a lot. Music is glamorous. It can be, but if glamour is your purpose, if glamour is your focus, you have probably already failed before starting. Because when it comes to gospel music, your focus is Jesus. The message is Jesus. That's why I'm like, I don't play both sides. I remember having an opportunity about 3, 4 years ago. I was offered a record deal. And the record deal was like, we like your sound, we like your music. But when you are doing your music, you don't have to put God or Jesus. Actually, you can put God, but don't say the name Jesus. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, Jesus is the reason I'm doing this music. So for you to tell me to already compromise in the name of getting a record label, a recording contract rather, I'm like, nah, that's not gonna work for me. Because what you today, if it's take out Jesus, tomorrow it will be take out God, tomorrow it will be say something else. And
Yes,
I'm
change
like,
the
no,
lyrics.
my focus is Jesus. And so if you have to remember where your focus is, and then as a developing musician, developing artist, know if God has called you to this thing because it comes with challenges. It comes, like I said, my own struggles were financial, my own struggles were relational. When you don't have somebody to help you, when you don't have the money, will you continue? Because if you're trying to do it for money, it's not about the money. So as a developing musician, please identify why you are doing this in the first place. Are you doing it for God or do you think it's lucrative? Because if you're trying to get into it just as a career, you've already messed up from the get-go. Don't do that. Get into it because God called you to it. And that's why when you now deal with, Pastor Olumide sent something to me once when I was going through a hard time. He actually called me and he prayed for me and he says, remember in the darkness what you heard in the light. And the message there is there will be hard times when it comes to you accomplishing your purpose. But if God has actually called you and given you a word to do what you are doing, even when the dark times come, remember what God told you when things were nice in the light, and that will see you through every dark moment. So, to the upcomings, know why you are doing this. Do it for God if you're going to do it at all, and do it well. Develop yourself. Rome was not built in a day. We are growing. We are constantly learning. Where I was 10 years ago is not where I am now. I'm still
Yes.
struggling. See me, I'm going to work. Like I'm still working. I'm still struggling. I'm still moving. I'm still investing my own resources into just promoting the gospel and sharing Jesus with my generation and with everybody who will listen to me. So, to the upcomings, develop yourself, do it for God, know why you are doing it, and then persevere. If God has actually called you to this, when the enemy comes in like a flood, remember that God will raise a standard up against him if he's the one that sent you.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Aster of CCG Radio, and I have with me live online Tomi Favored. Now, for those who want to reach you, what are the platforms they can reach you on?
Awesome. I am pretty much on every social media platform that is running right now. So if it's YouTube, I'm on YouTube. If it's Instagram, I'm on Instagram. If it's Facebook, I'm on Facebook. Pretty much any social media thing that you follow, just find me, and my hashtag, my not
Handle.
hashtag, my handle is always at Tomi Favored.
All
So
right.
Tomi. And to our Nigerian folks, I know we spell favored in the Nigerian way, so don't spell it the Nigerian way, spell it the British way. So it would be at Tomifavored. No U in the favored. So
Okay.
Favored. So Tomi Favored. So you'll find me at Tomi Favored on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on any social media platform. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much for being a part of the show today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I must say I had fun, having you on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you
so
very much.
much.
Thank you for being on the show
Yes.
today. And I pray that God will continue to keep you. God will continue to give you
Amen.
grace to write more songs to
Amen.
propagate the kingdom of God
Amen.
in Jesus' name. Still RCCG Radio.
Amen.
Thank you very
Amen.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, sis. Love you. God bless you guys.
Bye. All right, still our CCG Radio. Like I said earlier, for the best contemporary gospel music, this is the right place for you to get it. This place is the right place for you to get it. All you need to do is tell a friend to log on to www.myrccgradio.com. You can also download the RCCG Radio app on Google Play Store. Type RCCG Radio, click the install button or download button, and you're good to go. Remember, you can also follow us on all our social media platforms. It is at MyRCCG Radio on Instagram and on Twitter at MyRCCG Radio. And on Facebook, it is www.facebook.com/RCCG Radio. And also Tomi Favored on all our social media platforms. It is at Tomi Favored on all social media platforms, and it is spelled Tomi Favored. My brother and sister, don't add you to the favored. It is Favored. All right. So do ensure you go follow on all our social media platforms so you can get more interesting, updates as regards Tomi Favored. All right. Remember that if you have testimonies to share, the number for you to send your testimonies on is +234-818-650-8590. +234-818-650-8590. I'm not leaving you, but I'm going to leave you with this lovely song from Tomi Favored, and this one is one of my favorites, on the song. This one is called "We Love You, Jesus" mix.
Jesus, we love you, yeah, yeah. When we think of your love, the love you have shown to humankind, how you've given yourself up for us, you've opened the eyes of those once blind.